everybody, and welcome back to The Bell Life. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so excited because we are still in the holiday season. So this week, I'm going to be showing you guys how you can make a delicious whole chicken for the holidays. I don't know about you guys, but I'm honestly not the biggest fan of turkeys during the holidays. So if you're the same as me and you're not the biggest fan of whole turkey, I have a delicious whole chicken recipe that you can use instead for the holidays. So stay tuned. All right, guys, I have the ingredients divided into 4 different areas: the meat, the fats and oils, the seasonings, and then the fresh ingredients. So for the meat, we're going to be using a whole young chicken. For the oils and fats, extra virgin olive oil and butter. For the seasonings, I have quite a few things. I have kosher salt, but of course you can use regular salt. I'm just using kosher salt. I have onion powder, garlic powder, paprika, Italian seasoning, thyme leaves because I don't have fresh thyme, ground black pepper, chicken bouillon cubes, and brown sugar. You may be wondering, why will I be using brown sugar? Just stick with me. And the last area that we're going to be looking at is the fresh vegetables and herbs and fruits. So I'm going to be using fresh parsley, fresh rosemary, 1 onion. I'm going to use a whole garlic and then a few loose pieces and 4 lemons for this recipe. Keep in mind, as you're cutting up your lemons, only 1 whole lemon will be used to season the chicken. The rest will be used to clean the chicken. I don't have any specific measurements as far as how much parsley to use. I just literally grab and twist off a bunch of it, clean it, and cut it up. So that's what you see me doing right here. I don't have any specific measurements as far as how much rosemary I use either, so you can use as little or as much as you want to. As far as getting the rosemary off the stem, you just need to push in the opposite direction of the leaves, and that should get them all off. So we already cut up half of an onion. The other half we're going to cut into thick slices, and we're going to use that to layer into the bottom of the pan. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started on this chicken. So we're going to be doing it spatchcock style. For any of you who aren't sure what that is, that's basically the process of flipping the chicken over, cutting the backbone out, and flattening the chicken. This helps it to cook quicker, more evenly, and it also helps it to be crispier. So that's what we're going to be doing today. You locate the backbone by turning the chicken over and looking for the tail and the neck. So that's what you saw me doing. So now I'm using my kitchen shears to basically cut along the backbone because I want to get rid of it. Once the backbone is removed, you need to turn the chicken back over and basically use your weight on top of the bird's chest to crack that bone there, but it wasn't working for me, so whenever the bone right there is not cracking, I usually just get my scissors and I cut it a little bit myself, and you'll know that it's flattened perfectly when you hear a crack sound. There we go. Now that the backbone is removed and the chicken is flattened, I like to take the time to clean my chicken. I just feel like it's so important because it just gives your chicken a fresher taste. So you see me with a sharp knife scraping against the chicken skin. I'm doing this in order to remove the yellowish substance and any feathers that may be remaining on the chicken. So you'll see me lift up my knife and show you the things that the knife is catching. Typically, there's also a yellowish skin at the bottom of the leg. Make sure that you take that off so you see that it comes off very easily. Don't leave that on. So now what you see me doing is taking fresh lemon, squeezing the lemon juice over the chicken, and this just helps to freshen your chicken. I'm also going to be using the lemon skins to scrub the chicken. So that's what I'm doing right now. Keep in mind, this recipe calls for 4 whole lemons, so what you see here in the pan is 3 lemons. Only 1 lemon will actually be used to season the chicken. Once I've used my knife and lemons to get the chicken as clean as possible, I take white vinegar and pour it over the chicken, and then I pour water into that pan to allow it to soak. As my chicken is soaking, I take my onions and layer it into the bottom of the pan. After allowing my chicken to soak for about 10 to 15 minutes, I transfer it from that pan into the baking pan and I pat it dry. Before I season the chicken, I like to drizzle olive oil on both sides generously. So that's what you see me doing right here. I massage the olive oil into the meat and then I begin to season. So now we're on to seasoning the chicken. I don't have specific measurements for each seasoning, but this is what I do that always works. I basically take each seasoning and I sprinkle it evenly and generously along the meat, and it always comes out perfect. So don't measure, just make sure that you're being consistent in the way you sprinkle it across the entire meat. Don't skip on adding a sprinkle of brown sugar because it helps to balance the sourness of the lemons. Now this is where a lot of people get messed up because when you're seasoning chicken in this way, it is crucial that you season both sides of the chicken the same way. So just like I layered those seasonings on the first side, I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to season it the same way so there's flavor on both sides. And honey, it's going to be so good. I'm getting excited just talking about it. I like to get a knife and poke into the meat because it allows that flavor to infuse into the meat as it's cooking. Now that the chicken is perfectly seasoned, I have 4 to 5 tablespoons of butter in my hand, and I'm just cutting a tablespoon and putting it in random places along the bird. So I stuck it along the legs. I have one that I put on the breast, and then I have 2 tablespoons of butter that I put underneath the skin on the breast. And it'll be so flavorful. I have 1 bouillon cube that I'm just gonna break apart a little bit, and I'm sticking it into the pan in random places. And then I'm adding 1 cup of water to the pan. Do not add any more water than that because the chicken will release its own juices. So that's just enough. I know that my chicken is cooked through when I use a knife to stick the thickest, meatiest places and it doesn't bleed out. I'm just taking that chicken back out to use for green beans. And now I'm basting the chicken with that butter sauce that we have. It's so delicious. And this is going to help the chicken to crisp up when we put it back into the oven uncovered. I'm setting the oven to 450 degrees instead of on broil just because I want it to brown slower and a bit more evenly. So I'm generously basting the chicken because that's really going to help it to get nice and brown. Keep in mind that juice that we're drizzling has a lot of butter in it, and butter helps to crisp up the chicken and brown it.